Hello guys, welcome back to Legacy Vault, the channel where history, legends, and powerful stories come alive. Today, we're talking about one of the most iconic and mysterious leaders in modern history. John F. Kennedy. He was young, charismatic, fearless, and became a symbol of hope for an entire generation. From surviving World War II, to standing against the Soviet Union during the Cold War, to leading America through one of its most dangerous moments, JFK's story feels almost cinematic. But behind the speeches and fame was a man carrying enormous pressure, political battles, and tragedy. This is the story of John F. Kennedy, the man who changed America forever. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was born on May 29, 1917, in Brookline, Massachusetts, into one of the wealthiest and most ambitious families in America. His father, Joseph Kennedy Sr., was a powerful businessman who expected greatness from his children. JFK grew up surrounded by competition. The Kennedy family had 9 children, and every single one was pushed to succeed. During summers at Hyannisport, the Kennedy children competed in everything: football, sailing, swimming, and even political debates. Those experiences shaped young Jack Kennedy into someone determined, confident, and deeply competitive. But unlike many privileged young men of his era, JFK became fascinated by world affairs. In the late 1930s, as Europe moved closer to war, Kennedy traveled overseas and witnessed rising tensions firsthand. He visited Nazi Germany, met diplomats, and even listened to speeches by Winston Churchill. Those experiences changed him forever. JFK realized that the world was heading toward disaster, and he believed America could not stay isolated forever. When World War II erupted, JFK joined the United States Navy. In 1943, he was assigned command of a patrol torpedo boat called PT-109 in the Pacific Ocean. Then came the night that would define his life forever. While patrolling near the Solomon Islands, JFK's boat was suddenly rammed by a Japanese destroyer. The collision exploded PT-109 into flames. 2 crewmen were killed instantly. The remaining survivors were stranded in shark-infested waters. JFK himself suffered serious injuries, especially to his back, but instead of giving up, he became the leader his men desperately needed. He swam for miles through dangerous waters while pulling an injured sailor by the strap of his life jacket clenched between his teeth. For days, Kennedy kept his crew alive until rescue finally arrived. His bravery turned him into a national war hero. But the war also changed him emotionally. Friends later said JFK returned from combat more serious, more thoughtful, and more aware of the true cost of leadership. After the war, Kennedy entered politics. With the support of his powerful family, he won a seat in Congress and later became a United States Senator. Unlike older politicians of the era, JFK brought energy and charisma. He was young, stylish, witty, and understood television better than almost anyone in politics. At the same time, he met the woman who would become one of the most famous first ladies in history, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Jackie Kennedy was intelligent, elegant, and deeply cultured. Together, they became America's version of royalty. But JFK's political ambitions were growing even larger. By 1960, he announced his campaign for president. Many doubted him. Some critics believed he was too young. Others worried because he was Catholic. But Kennedy had something powerful: the ability to inspire people. The 1960 presidential race between JFK and Richard Nixon became one of the most important elections in American history. It was also the first election heavily influenced by television. During the famous televised debate, Kennedy appeared calm, confident, and presidential. Nixon looked tired and uncomfortable. Millions of Americans watching from home believed Kennedy had won the debate. That moment changed politics forever. Television had become more powerful than radio or newspapers. And JFK understood that better than anyone. In November 1960, John F. Kennedy narrowly defeated Nixon and became the youngest elected president in U.S. history. Soon after taking office, he delivered one of the most famous speeches ever given. "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." Those words inspired millions around the world. But Kennedy's presidency quickly became dangerous. The world was deep in the Cold War, a global struggle between the United States and the Soviet Union. One of JFK's first major failures was the Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba. The CIA-backed mission failed disastrously, embarrassing the young president. Then came the greatest crisis of his presidency. In 1962, American spy planes discovered Soviet nuclear missiles being installed in Cuba, only 90 miles from the United States. The world stood on the edge of nuclear war. Many military advisors urged Kennedy to invade Cuba immediately. But JFK hesitated. He understood that one wrong move could trigger World War III. Instead, he ordered a naval blockade around Cuba and opened negotiations with Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev. For 13 terrifying days, the world waited. People feared nuclear destruction at any moment. Finally, the Soviet Union agreed to remove the missiles. Kennedy's calm leadership during the Cuban Missile Crisis is still considered one of the greatest moments of political crisis management in modern history. While fighting Cold War tensions overseas, Kennedy also faced growing conflict at home. America was deeply divided over civil rights. African Americans across the country were demanding equality, voting rights, and an end to segregation. One major crisis happened when James Meredith attempted to enroll at the all-white University of Mississippi. Violent riots broke out. Kennedy was forced to send federal troops to restore order. Over time, JFK became more vocal in supporting civil rights legislation. He called racial equality a moral issue and pushed Congress to act. Although many reforms would pass after his death, Kennedy helped move America toward major change. In 1963, JFK remained one of the most admired leaders in the world. Crowds gathered everywhere he traveled. His speeches inspired hope, especially among young people. During a famous speech in Berlin, Kennedy declared, "Ich bin ein Berliner." The crowd erupted in cheers. But only months later, tragedy struck. On November 22, 1963, while riding in a motorcade through Dallas, Texas, President Kennedy was shot and killed. The news shocked the world. Millions watched in disbelief as America mourned its fallen president. One of the most heartbreaking moments came during the funeral, when Kennedy's young son saluted his father's coffin. For many Americans, it felt like the end of an era of hope and optimism. More than 60 years later, the legacy of John F. Kennedy still lives on. He served less than 3 years as president, yet his influence remains enormous. People remember his courage during the Cuban Missile Crisis, his inspiring speeches, his vision for the future, and the idea that leadership should challenge people to become better. Even today, historians continue debating what JFK might have achieved had he lived longer. But one thing is certain. John F. Kennedy became more than a president. He became a symbol. A symbol of youth, ambition, courage, and hope. Thank you for watching this episode of Legacy Vault. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories from history. And tell us in the comments, what do you think was JFK's greatest achievement? See you in the next video.